I've discovered on the leaderboards. There is a new face emerging at the top. Inuit Copetus. Ranked number 5 in the world right now. I'm not quite sure who this is, but I'm curious to check in on them. I don't think this is a new person out of the blue we've never seen before. It could be, though. 141 games played. They've been sweating it out, whoever it is. I wanted to say Mr. based on the name, but I'm not sure if he has that much spare time to grind already on the new ranked season. So I'm trying to think of people who are missing right now. Lucifer and Vortex are examples of people we haven't seen. There's probably a few others that come to mind. But I would assume like Lucy or Vortex would be the most obvious. I haven't been able to identify the accounts for a long time. Apparently, it's a Spanish account, so yeah, that should narrow it down, either Vortex or Lucifer. But it's quite the bait. Like, I think the name with the O and E the way it is, you'd think more like Greek than you would Spanish. Apparently, Inuit is like an Egyptian god. I know. It's more the O and the E. I think like most people's first thought would be probably more towards like Mediterranean. But yeah, probably Lucifer or Vortex. And they're going to be up against Nushilbear. And Nushilbear is a fairly capable player. We've seen him before. He makes reasonable runs in the road to Wololo. This guy is ranked 45th right now. Let's see if he can give us a good show here. Because we've got a Rus Abbasid matchup. It's kind of interesting, actually. Two civs that quite enjoy playing on Lipany. One, of course, likes all the extra berries that you get access to. And the other one benefits a lot from those boars. The boars, however, in this game are not postured for aggression. They could be exploitable, and we might actually see a TC build, because I think that's a big change we've seen, is more people going towards a TC expansion on the boar with the Rus. Something that actually I think B was the early adopter for. Back on the old King of the Hill, he would do it frequently. And then it started to catch on in the newer patches on different maps as well. I'm glad it's becoming a frequent element of Rus gameplay, because I think it's just a very easy play to execute, especially against civs that don't field early aggression. And while the Abbasids do field aggression, it's on a trigger delay. Usually they want to get their second TC up first before they even think about going into horseman type units. So you do actually have an opportunity to make that TC play. Nice. I want to see what he's going to do. Is Wheelbarrow already? How's he look on the bounty system? Up to 165. I think he had a decent amount of... Oh, no. They're following Inuit, who I'm pretty sure is Lucifer or Vortex. I'm just going to call him Inuit because I don't know which one. Damn, he took 5 wolves? All right, Noosh. Wave the white flag, bro. You just got handled. Damn, 125 gold gone just like that. He might be able to snipe one here. It's going to be a little bit tough, though. You can already see Inuit is waiting for it, and he's going to just yoink it away. I don't want to do Lucy dirty, but I'm saying Vortex. I think, like, other two, like, Vortex a little bit better on the micro, and also the way, like, he usually grabs for wolves. I actually think Vortex plays a lot more Roost than Lucy as well, so he probably has a kind of feel for where he needs to check. You can say there's an RNG element to find these wolves, but, like, the way he spread is important, and I've always felt Vortex done that a little bit better. But we'll keep calling him Inuit for the time being. Noosh, in the meantime, is building up into the Golden Gate. He only pulled 4 villages. This is really surprising. People tend to pull 6 villages most of the time. And the whole idea is then you pull an extra 2 from your wood line or your food source to go across to a boar. So I don't think this is a boar plague, just because I think it's too delayed. You could still go for it because you're up against the Abbasids, so it's not like you're up against a civ that instantly pushes a knight or something to harass you. It just doesn't seem likely with the slower build-up. And yeah, that should confirm it. Wooden Fortress going down, like this 100% can't be a ball play. At least not at the 4.5-minute mark. He might be looking for the 6.5-minute pull, which is still feasible up against the Abbasids because they're delayed aggression. Note that whenever you want to do the ball play, if you're up against the French or another Rus player, you should be doing it at the 4.5-minute mark. You can't wait until 6.5 or 8.5 minutes. Noosh, in the meantime, can see the layout. Sees the mills went down, so it should be a quick wheelbarrow. Can't really stop the gold from being gathered up, so it looks like Inuit should get enough for fresh foodstuffs as well as wheelbarrow. And then that should be a pull across onto the stone on the south side. A move that should be fairly obvious, should be identified quite early, but cannot be blocked by Noosh. However, Noosh is going to try to ramp up the pressure. I like this play, going to the stables. It does seem like a weird play to make against the Abbasids, a Civ that loves to see cavalry, A, because of the camels negating your damage, and B, because of how effective phalanx spearmen are. But the whole point is you get the ability to be pressure-oriented with this build. And you can see right now that Noosh is so excited about the idea of the delayed ball pull we talked about. He has not finished building the stable. Okay, he's going to do it now. I still like this timing. Like I said, I think against the Abbasids, this is one of the civs you can do the 6.5 pull. And it looks like he's going to make that pull. This way, he can actually go for the TC if he chooses. But he'd need to go on the gold. And it looks like he hasn't, so I'm expecting it to just be a hunting cabin. And in the meantime, the stable going up will allow him to get the first knight out, which the whole logic here is Anuit is probably going to go for a slightly looser generation onto the TC out here on the deer. That's going to leave gaps on the berry line and possibly on the deer where you can sneak in and snipe with the knight. Meantime, though, Noosh is going to secure his area. He even sniped out the scouts. Mistakes being made there by Anuit. Looks like he only lost one in the end. Horseman is going to arrive, but the villagers will rush up the wooden fortress now. And Anuit will show respect, will back away, understands that he cannot block this. Especially with the scouts nearby, because now Noosh can just gather on the ball. He doesn't even need to sacrifice the villagers to defend this area. He can just garrison the scouts if an assault comes in. While a hand being revealed, and now it becomes predictable. Anuit, he's gone for the horseman. Most likely he's going to go for the spearman. That's going to counter out the knights, but overall Noosh can, of course, just use these as a flexi raid unit and then look towards archers and spears to make up the backbone of his army. Some people are asking about pro scouts. No, I don't think you go pro scouts. I feel like you next to never actually go pro scouts. For a start, like, you need to think about the generation and what he's done so far. So for one thing, he's built onto the ball. Pro scouts is way too greedy. It's way too pricey and becomes way too greedy for what it is. Like, you're paying 350 resources as an entry barrier. On top of that, he has backwards spawning deer. If he wants the deer that badly, he can just play to them. Because what he's done now with this proxy base is he's postured himself towards Anuit's base. And that means even with more static units like spearmen and archers, he's now going to draw attention towards the Abbasid base, and it will allow him to play pocket ecos with limited risk to him. This is something that I think Anuit's going to be aware of, though. He will look to try and counter that in the coming minutes. But up to about 15 minutes in, you have to fight the roost directly. You can't go and flank attack them. So this is free gains for Noosh if he ever wants it. We see the TC a little bit more aggressive. I actually prefer this. This is good from Anuit. I was about to highlight that. Like, the issue with where he put the TC is all the deer carcasses were ahead. So what would have happened is that archers could have sniped you out. This is actually a great recalibration. It's a small difference on screen, but it's a huge difference in the game. Archers can't snipe your villagers now. And if they want to, they have to wrap around, which is dangerous because they are an immobile unit. And it means things like horsemen can pick them apart. Or at least get more opportunities to do so. Meantime, Noosh going to start escalating the numbers. He knows he needs to get some sort of dent in here. Either that, he needs to go back for his own second TC. He does have the gold required, but doesn't have the supplies to rush it. Meantime, Knights are going to try to strip away some value, strip away some vision on the map. Really important as well, actually. If you can get rid of the scout, Anuit's playing a blind game. He doesn't have additional scouts right now. That's something I want to see him fix, because if this scout does go down, like, you want to have a second one with your horsemen. Because eventually, like, Anuit's goal is to get up to 10 to 12 horsemen. And if he sees that Noosh doesn't want to take an engagement, then what he'll do is wrap around towards Noosh's base. Because at that point, which will be, what, 12, 13 minutes, around there, what should happen is that Noosh's wood line should be thick enough and also deep enough that he won't be able to save everyone in the wooded fortress, and the TC will be too far away. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, he has got 4 people in there. So we are looking at possibly 3 TCs. But he's being very contained about his approach. He doesn't just want to rush it. He realizes that there is a looming threat from the roost in the north. He has to respect that. And he knows that that threat is going to escalate, because you're talking about the roost on the ball, which means that they've got phenomenal food gathering rates right now. You know they've already at least cracked tier 2, which means with the extra 10% gathering rate they're getting, they're basically shoreline fish gatherers on the ball. In the meantime, he's going to get baited in a lot. Needs to be careful as horsemen. Pricey units, 120 resources each. You can't really afford to be sacrificing any. Love this detail from Noosh. He's manipulating the stealth forest. This is such an underrated thing to be doing. Think about this. If your knights aren't actually raiding into eco lines, they should be doing this. The logic is that otherwise they're just idle units in the field. What he's doing is giving himself variance play. He's giving himself an opportunity to ambush. I love this. Like, Lepony doesn't have very big stealth forests. Like, sometimes you get the big one, but it seems like recent generations or change to the code mean this is more frequent. Use them. No matter what map you're on, use stealth forests. And also, this doubles down the importance of scouting on both sides, because those scouts will give you early warning to back away. Archer's now forcing him to back away. Trying to bait a fight that right now Inuit cannot take. He's been building up the Archer ball himself. An ambitious endeavor, considering you're up against the Roos. See a reach in. We'll snipe 1 or 2 villages and just torch down the gold mine in the meantime. Back at home, though, Blacksmiths is getting into that undermesh. So it looks like he was already aware of what's coming next against him. He also does need the extra undermesh against these TCs that he's looking to dive. Noosh looking a bit frugal right now, I'd say. Double archery range 11 minutes in feels a bit weak sauce. I would have expected a third archery range to be added by now. Even in the old builds, you do it. But considering the new builds, rams are even cheaper. There's even less justification as to why you don't have a third archery range yet. In fact, if anything, it looks like Noosh is floating too much food. Night production is not high enough to account for that either. Villages now being pulled. Looks like he finished the ball. As expected, only takes about 5 minutes. And now he's going to go in for the berries to the Wooden Fortress first. Gives him a staging point. I knew it cannot let him have this for free. Because once he gets this up, it's going to be a snowball into the TC. However, his reaction is very slow. Line formation coming out from Noosh. Knights now cycling in. Spears looking to react. Here's the ram does hit into the secondary TC. And I knew it. I don't like what he's been doing with this stone. He finally stopped gathering, but he has 600. And no intent of going for a third TC. Especially the second one under fire right now. He needs to fight tooth and nail. Archer standing their ground from Noosh as the static defenses are going to go up. That's going to be a pushback. And right now, Inuit stabilizing for the moment. But the Ram, once again, looking to assault here. And the Archers are going to get some freebies as Inuit is looking to sacrifice them to bring down the Ram. Will fail to do so. 3 more villages going down. And more soon to fall. Mistakes have been made. The ungarrison is a mistake there from Inuit. He cleans up the Ram. But Noosh has to be happy with this. Sure, it cost him 250 wood, but the amount of villages he sniped, as well as the idle time, the units he's traded, this is a good start for him. But he needs a lot more yet. And that's why he's going back for another Ram. You saw him, he did try to pull the villagers to repair. That would have been pretty clutch, would have saved him some extra wood. Would have meant that he would have been killing off the TC maybe 20, 30 seconds sooner. But instead, he'll have to reset. Go for the rebuild and a new Ram. And we talked about these pocket ecos instead of pro scouts. You're now seeing him utilize it. The whole purpose, the whole reason he can do this is Noosh has applied pressure into Inuit's base. And Inuit is only just holding on. Like, these fights look fairly even, but he's taking eco damage as well, right? So the logic is that you can't actually peel off horsemen to go raiding, because at that stage, your composition is crap. You need all 3 unit types here to overwhelm what Noosh is doing. Especially when he continues this. Stables and archery range is even closer. He's crawling towards the base. Ram once again in. A few knights in the front line. Need to be careful the pinch comes out. Spearman able to take down 1. Archers are going to begin to back up. And there's enough of them that the horsemen can't do anything. A villager pool's going to come out as the Ram is going to be pursued. And Inuit needs to back off. This is going to be way too much of a commitment coming out. Horseman trying to buy a little bit of time. Knight will push them all back for the time being. And this should be where the repair comes out. Meantime, notice that Noosh is holding Spearman far away, just in case the horsemen get a little bit out of control here. Archers trading out against those spears. Once they're gone, the Knights can ride in a second wave prepping behind this for Noosh. And Inuit, and I'm still not seeing a third TC. And it's because he can't really afford it. Even with the deer gathering rates, he's struggling to keep up with the demand of war here. Noosh, he's keeping him neck and neck. Now, long term, this is good for Inuit because he's still escalating. It's 2 TCs versus 1. I'd love to see Noosh change it up a little. You've got all this income in the wood. Use it. You know, trade. Get your hands on the tickets and get your hands on a second TC. Feels like there's a missed opportunity here. And he's noticed that this is taking too long. I mean, so far it's been 2 Rams, 2 sacrificed, and the TC still stands. So now it's going to be 2 Rams. That should be enough to finish what he started here. But even then, the lead that's been built, he needs to do more. And that's why you see this appeal of the Knights. I love this play. This is what I was waiting for him to do. This is what the Knights are damn good for. Even when you're counted out by Phalanx Spears, don't go after the main fight. Go after the underbelly of the beast. Go after the economy that sustains him. And even with textiles, 2 Knights can slowly chip away at this eco lead you've built up. Meantime, Archibald getting fapped again on both sides. Rams in on the TC. It is now on fire. Into the choke point they go. Spearman baited in range to try and buffer up against the Horseman. Garrison comes out into the Wooden Fortress. Archers are going to stand their ground. And it looks like the TC is going to be dropped. Good move there with the Rams. Has to back away, though. And it looks like Noosh may forfeit the main fight as a result of this. Not enough Knights here. A few are going to start to arrive, but he needs more stables. He needs more stat. See the chase down. Good maneuver there by Anu. Will clean up the Rams. Sure, he loses a secondary TC, but still a 10 villager lead. Now a clear military lead. A proxy base that's going to be thrown away. And behind this, Noosh has found no value in the game elsewhere. He cleaned up the boar a long time ago. He didn't go for secondary boar. He's already cleaned up 1 stack of deer. He has a farm transition down the line that he's going to have to make in the next 4 or 5 minutes. And Anuit is more comfortable with that transition because of all these berry patches. There's such great gathering rates that he doesn't need to rush towards farms at the same speed that Noosh will. The alternative is that Noosh surrenders great gathering rates and goes on to berries. Noosh, I mean, he can feel that something's off now. I mean, look at his resources. It's kind of like his brain is paused right now. He's like, okay, so what do I do next? Speaking of brain pausing, oh god. Yeah, he's going for the secondary TC. But oh my god, he doesn't have the ticker. He doesn't have the ticker. Suffice to say, this is not efficient. Is anyone else just watching the clock right now? Yeah, so he's gathering finally, but the idle time adds up. The fact that you want to go for the TC but couldn't, so he's just floating idle wood. Yeah, I don't know. This is tilting in favor of Anuit fast. And Anuit did go for another TC, this time on the backside towards those berries we talked about, a safe woodline as well. Unlikely to ever be discovered due to the natural defenses in this area. Just like that, finally Anuit is able to use that extra stone he was sitting on for so long. Meanwhile, Noosh, I don't know how you use this much wood. It's just sitting there. The gold as well. He's ran out of food. He needs the farm transition. He's playing berries, but at this point, I'd have to argue it's worth slapping down some farms. I mean, his food income has been abysmal. He completely stalled on military, and it means that now Anuit is doubling him up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Abbasid player choose to tech up soon. He doesn't know how far ahead he is yet, but he'll discover it quickly. Wait, what are you doing? Those were villagers, folks. All right, Noosh has gone into the base. I mean, you have to now. You have to get some damage done. You're so far behind in villager count now. What are they doing? I'm still trying to figure it out. I think that they ran east and got stuck, but why were they even here? The only thing I can think is he was trying to cheese him out with wooden fortresses. That's a very weird play from Noosh. I mean, let's go with the defensive argument of what I talk about. Variance gameplay. And some people point out, like, they're starting to think this is Lucifron due to the variance in his TC placement. Like, we've seen him do this multiple times on maps like Dry Arabia. Sometimes Vortex does it, but more frequently Lucifron. I don't think this is as much as a Lucy play as you'd think, just because I think the generation is why he done it. This TC on the backside, like, it makes sense for a lot of players to hide the eco reboom, but it's just a good placement due to the berries and the wood line. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a giveaway of Lucifron, simply because I think this is the type of play that a lot of players would make with the berry and wood spawn on the backside. I do still think it's possible, though. It's either Lucifron or Vortex. I'm just not sure which. Like, 100% the way they're playing, the way they turtled up and reacted. Yeah, this is Lucifrana Vortex. I'm certain of that. And this is getting kind of awkward. I mean, the walls didn't go up. Nush is losing even more villages. And there's enough horsemen that you actually don't care about the knights. You can kind of fight them, to be honest. Notice that when you talk about these blacksmith upgrades, they're more important when you're talking quantity versus quality matchups. That's why, you know, like, you think about French knights, they need it to two-tap, like, villages, right? With the melee level 1 upgrade. But even then, if they had to pay for it, they'd probably be less inclined. Like, when you're massing horsemen or spearmen, that damage increase is a higher percentage than it is for knights. So that's why, like, the horsemen having these blacksmith upgrades is a big deal. And speaking of big deals, Nush has teched up. But look at the difference to do so. 89 military to 37. Anuit should know it's time to go. Someone point out, like, imagine getting stabbed in the ribs while building a gate to escape. Okay, here's a better thought for you. Imagine building a gate to escape, but not escaping. Like, if you're building a gate... Guys, I really think about that for a sec. If you're building a gate, how do you build a gate? Do you not start with an opening in the wall? And now your immersion is ruined. It is pretty dumb when you think about it like that, yeah. Stupid peasants couldn't figure out how to just walk through things. Nish might be in a bit of a pickle here. He's playing pocket ecos. The horsemen are everywhere now. They've just been allowed free reign here because the walls never went up. He splits them into two groups, and this is going to be frustrating. Nice dodge of death as the villagers peel to the west side. However, he is cycling through. He's looking for targets of opportunity, and he might find one north side here. 9 villages out in no man's land. And all this, by the way, is done to cover the tech up, and Nuit is almost done with it. And by having the horseman in the backside of the base, Nush is drawn away from sieging. Instead, he's going to react to this. And wow, he actually gets away with it. Okay, that is incredibly fortunate. Because Inuit scouted that area. He knows... He doesn't know about the deer. That is lucky. That is incredibly lucky. I'm kind of surprised Inuit never checked that corner because he never saw the secondary deer stack. But good lordy, does fortune smile upon Nush. We'll see if it smiles for long, though. One thing I'm a bit scared of is that Inuit can do a back-to-back tech up if he wants to at this rate. Look at the food and gold. He just invested a bunch of gold in the tech ups, right, with the veterancies, but realistically, Inuit could be on his way towards Imperial in the next minute. Back-to-back tech ups. And remember, you're playing the Abbasid, so when you tech up, you don't do so from a position of weakness in that by the time people know you're doing it, unless they, like, when they get the triggered notification, it's been 1 minute and 45 seconds of your entire economy gathering resources. Dude, these horsemen are actually buying so much space right now. Meanwhile, front side, Nush is pretty weak. Like, he hasn't got many knights over here. And it looks like he is going full knight. Full knight equal full niet against Abbasids. Like, you're up against spears, and now you're going to be up against camel riders. Oh, Nush. I think he just baited himself. There is no way that knights is the play here. Camel on ease, camel riders. Even if it wasn't for that, you're up against Phalanx Spearmen. And he is on the move. Look at the size of this army. And Nuit is ready to party. He's pop captain. He wants to fight. Stables even going up as well. Push in. Plenty of torches to bear. The hull upon the Ruse proxy base. Immediate retreat coming out from Nush. He doesn't want to contest this at all. North side, it looks like the villagers maybe got spotted. I think they did get away, though. Still a clear eco lead for the Abbasids. And now the military might is going to start swinging. No military wing, though, so no boot camp. But at this rate, that could easily come into the picture. Just waiting for more upgrades to come through as he pushes forward. The gap close is going to be quick here. Noosh needs more time. Noosh, who, by the way, is not really building a big army. He hasn't queued up any type of forward front line. No spearmen, no man-at-arms, no archers, no horse archers, nothing. Not even more knights right now because Noosh is in trouble. He's running out of gold, running out of food. He's idling between lines as he gets the new one, and this is going to offer up an opportunity to continue on in as Inuit moves north to clean up the proxy base. By doing so, you clean up the ability for Noosh to quickly replace troops, as that is a lot of his production buildings right now. Gets burnt so quickly. Inuit just looking for an opportunity to fight right now. He's pop-capped. And if he doesn't get an ability to fight in the next 10 to 20 seconds, he'll get an ability to tech up. And you take it. You 100% start that tech up. There's no reason not to. Because even if you lose a fight now, you're losing it in your opponent's base. And here we go. Rams in. Scrim's trying to be built. Mangonel shots coming out. Mistakes made. Noosh beaten to the punch. Scrim's will at least trade it out. So the Mangonel goes down. He'll back off the north side. Looks like he's going to keep raiding up here because I do believe this will be the point where Inuit starts to look at it, starts to look at that tech up and say, ooh, shiny. For the time being, he needs to keep on fighting. Archers contesting. Noosh limited in numbers right now. Needs more infrastructure and needs it fast. He's trying to rally for the relics, but that's not his chief concern. His chief concern right now should be what's going to happen to his economy at home. Villagers marches south side. Deep dive coming in, the spearmen willing to pinch. I don't know what the hell the knights were doing there, but they're not winning a fight, that's for sure. And now the villagers are in trouble. The instant attempt to garrison the wooden fortress is a mistake. Several going to go down. And Inuit is not stopping there. He's choo-chooing all the way to the bank. And he's doing so with Noosh's bank account number. He even got the pin. He's got everything and anything he can want here. Spearmen continue to gap close. And enough of them that the Knights can never turn around. Camel Riders now arrive from the other side. It's a do or die. It's a stand your ground moment. Even with the assistance of the keep, Noosh is still going to lose the entire army. And he can't even get out quickly. Camel Riders making sure he doesn't even less damage when he tries to defend himself. This is an absolute shellacking. I don't see a way. His military production buildings are here. Backside, nothing else being built up. Noosh got way too greedy with this build. Did not protect the proxy. Did not set up for a defensive fight on the forefront. Didn't even get his wall in for a very long time. These details in combination have led to his downfall. Great idea early on, but the great defense out from Inuit into the pivot for aggression. On point. The horsemen raised in the backside, buying time when it was critical. And from there on out, my goodness, did this look one-sided. And the only upside for Noosh right now is that keeper's still alive, but that's not even going to be the case for long. I mean, look at these archers. Dude, it's 30 archers patrolling your main base. You can't build a single unit without it dying. Case in point. And Noosh hasn't called it yet, but like I don't see a point in recovery anymore. 70% of your base is dysfunctional. The area near the keep is the only thing that works. Everything else has died or will die. He has at least snuck pocket ecos south side, but the bigger concern is the Rams are now moving in. The keep is not well defended against this. The keep drop now coming out from Inuit on the front side. I'm pretty sure he got medical centers or will have it by the time it's built up. At which stage, he can just keep peeling them back and heal them up. Looking back at this game, I think Noosh's biggest issue was that I think he needed a raid with Knights on the flank sooner. When he done it, you saw the instant reaction. And Inuit had enough time to build up a force, and he just pushed out. Maybe if Noosh had 1 or 2 extra wooded fortresses and a few more Knights peeled to go rotating into the economy, he could have built up a lead. But he kind of just strong-armed at the front side of the base and didn't seem to show respect to the Abbasids where it's due. After that, bigger issue is just relying on Knights. Knights is a good night and farewell to you. It just doesn't work against the Abbasids. It's so inferior, especially with camels in the mix. Makes it all too easy for Inuit to clean him up in a Castle Age battle.